What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journos, Comics, and Pop Culture. Today's video is interesting because I'm actually responding to a comment that was left on a recent video that I made responding to a comment. So let me give you a little context here. I made this video that said I'm toxic to the hobby because collectors can't stand facing the truth. And that video was in response to this guy asking, like, why do you keep saying 99% of comics are worthless? Why do you keep, you're toxic for the hobby, you hate comics so much? And I had to do this video breaking it down, basically just stating that what I'm actually doing is showing you guys that comic book collecting as a hobby isn't just about making money. It's not just about buying something in order to make money off of it, right? Well, I have a good friend of the channel that's been a subscriber for a very, very long time, watches a lot of my videos and is always commenting. So again, in no way is what I'm doing here today a negative thing. It's because I like to engage and have conversations, to push narratives forward, to be able to critically think, to have constructive and positive argumentation. And when I say argumentation, I mean healthy debates. So I'm going to be looking at this comment today and breaking down my thoughts. And this individual starts out by saying, Chris, you have a misconception of the hobby. If you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, please take some time to do so. Check out all the links in the description below as well, including the link to my Whatnot store where I have hundreds and hundreds of books listed for buy it now at my storefront. The listing prices are already under current average fair market values, and I accept offers on everything, guys. So please go check that out. I am still adding and uploading more books to the storefront every week. If you guys are not on the Whatnot app, if you use the link right here in all my video descriptions, if you see this, right? Of course, you can get 10% off your BCW supplies with my link and code. But also right here, it says, follow me on Whatnot. You can get $15 off of your first purchase. And remember, that purchase doesn't need to be from me. It can be from anybody on the app. But with that being said, let's look at these comics, guys. No hide comics, no hide. If you're watching, man, appreciate you always. I don't always agree with everything you say, but I like that we're always engaging in the comment section. So let me just get into this and read it, folks. Chris, you have a misconception with the hobby. You have a misconception that the comics have to be worth money. They are for enjoyment in reading and doing fun things. They don't have to be worth money. You seem to be only approaching this with the view that they have to be worth money. That is the misconception you're under. Now, I'm not going to say too much because I want to read through all of his comments first. But already, it is not I who has the misconception here. Noah Hyde here is essentially, maybe I'm assuming not even understanding the point that I'm coming from when I make these videos looking at these collections and saying, well, in bulk, you're going to get 10 cents, 15 cents a book for these. You're not going to sell these for thousands of dollars. 99% of comics are practically worthless, especially in the bulk sense. The majority of comics, when you buy them off the shelf, they depreciate in value just like any other commodity. I'm not the one looking at this thinking that it all has to do with money. The point that I'm making means that it doesn't. But let me continue on before I officially break down the comments there. So he continues on. Now, this is before I even replied. He just continued on saying, now, it is 100% true that collecting for investment is a part of the hobby. These days, probably the high majority of collectors want their comics to be worth a bit. I agree with him there, actually. So what you are arguing is largely agreed by us all. We see the point of what you're saying, but it doesn't have to be the only reason to collect comics or trading cards or toys, cars, etc. No, like you're saying right here, you're actually saying what I'm trying to say. That's why I was so confused with why he was responding and saying these things. It's like, this is exactly the point. This is exactly why when you go pay $3.99 or $4.99 for a comic book, even if you read it, you don't read it, whatever, even if you keep it in near mint condition, when you go try to sell it again, 9 out of 10 times, you're not even going to get what you paid for it. That's my point. But let me continue on because he responds again without me even responding yet. He says, so in the first instance, it's love of comics and reading and enjoying them. That's the point of why they are produced. Exactly. Value comes after that, but these days seem to be the main thing for many collectors. So it's like, I'm scratching my head. Where's the misconception? Because in these 3 comments right here that he made is, or excuse me, the next 2, he's basically saying exactly the point that I'm trying to make. So let me read my response here. I said, ... because I'm just kind of perplexed. And I said, the reason why I make these videos is to prove to delusional people that comics don't have to be worth money and aren't simply worth money. How can you figure that I'm assuming they should be? That makes absolutely no sense. So what I'm saying is, he's assuming that I'm making these videos saying comics are worthless because I'm actually thinking that they all should be worth money. But then he says, I agree. They don't have to be worth money. And quite frankly, in terms of reselling, most go for very low prices if you want the liquid rate. Selling in bulk, you're probably right. I don't actually intend to sell my collection, So, I don't know, originally No Hide, if you were just kind of, maybe it was a figure of speech and how you were saying it. Like, I'm not the one with the misconception. I'm pointing out the misconception. And that's what I want to make clear here. And that's why I'm making a video talking about this even further. There is a misconception. There's a large misconception among comic book collectors. I'm not under it. I'm trying to bring truth and expose the truth of this misconception. That's why I say 99% of comic books are practically worthless or depreciate in value after you buy them. The misconception is that people get into the comic book hobby thinking that they're going to either A, make money off of their purchases, or 2, that when they're ready to sell, the value of that comic book is at least going to be cover price, especially if they're selling in bulk. And that is just not the case. Again, yesterday, I spent a couple hours in my comic book room because I'm getting ready to have a comic book garage sale. I have 5 dollar bin short boxes. I have 3 $2 bin short boxes. I have a $5 box, I have a $10 box, and I have a couple prices marked, which are some keys and variants or something like stuff like that. You know, those 5 boxes of dollar bin books and the 3 boxes of $2 books, most of those comics that are in there are modern books, DC and Marvel. There's some indie that I paid at least $2.99 or $3.99 cover price for. And I'm selling them for $1 or $2 because the majority of comic books, and they're still in mint condition, near mint condition, the majority of comic books depreciate in value. And I'm not even selling in bulk, guys. I'm not even selling in bulk. If I was to sell in bulk, I might get a dime or 15 cents a piece for them. I'm selling them individually in dollar bins, in $2 bins, because that's where they belong, because that's what their value is on the secondary market ultimately. That's my point here. There's no misconception. I have no misconception. The misconception is so many people that get into this hobby thinking otherwise. Now, do I care about investing in comics? Yes, I still do. I don't make as many videos about, like top 10 Bronze Age books to buy. Like, for one, the reason why I don't is just because I'm not there right now in my collecting for the most part. I'm not buying as much. So, it's not something that I want to focus on, but also it's because I would rather right now educate collectors in a different way. There's so many channels out there that talk about hot books. I just don't want to be one of them right now. Because with the way the market is, so many hot books right now are hot for all the wrong reasons. When I did my hot book list, I was talking about 99% of the books I was talking about were books that no other channel was talking about. Now, of course, I added reasons why I thought they would increase in value, and sure, live action spec was a part of it, but you know, and look, I'm not sitting here acting as if there is no long-term value in books that are probably being overlooked or there's not a lot of attention on right now. There's always room for that, especially with DC. I've been saying that for years and I still believe that. And I think DC's new DCU, there is possibilities there that can actually bring interest in that could be more than just that short-term live action FOMO. But I digress because I don't want to get too much into that. I still do care about investing in comics. I always will. I always will. But right now, I would rather focus on all the people that are left in the comic book collecting hobby right now and trying to get new people in. We have to stop being disillusioned. We have to stop the misconception, and we have to be smart with our money and focus on why and ask ourselves, why are we in this hobby? And somebody on one of the videos that I made about somebody trying to hawk a collection off $1,000 when they're not going to get that was like, oh, this is the prime example of taking the advice of buy what you love. No, that's not it. This is a prime example of somebody probably getting into the hobby, you know, thinking that variants and live action optioned indie spec is going to make them rich. And now they can't even sell them for pennies. It always comes back to buy what you love. Know why you're in the hobby. What do you love about the hobby? Do you love investing in the hobby? Okay, great. Now educate yourself on what are good ways to invest in comic books. Also know the bad ways in investing. But if you buy what you love and you don't have no remorse about the way you spend your money, whether you're buying it to read the books, for the art, or because you want an incentive variant just to have it and you don't care what the value is in 10 years, or because you want to see your collection and your money appreciate. All those reasons are fine. Always collect what you love, but be educated. Be educated. That's what I'm here to do. So again, Noah, I appreciate you for being a friend of the channel for so long. I'm not sure of your initial intent here and why you thought I was under the misconception. But ultimately, all the other comments here, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, and that's what I'm trying to bring to the table. Be educated, guys. We are entering a world where comic book collectors are aging out. We hold the power to bring money into this hobby, into the floppy comic, into the trade paperback, into the secondary market, into the primary market. We're not dead yet, guys. There's still a good amount of time for us to allow this hobby to be healthy. And for those that say, oh, kids don't read comic books, hey, get your kids into comic books. If you don't have kids, get your nephews and nieces in. You know, my kids still read comics to this day, and they're almost 18 and 20. And I guarantee you it was the influence of their father that gave them the love for comic books. So I don't want to hear that crap either. But at the end of the day, comic books have an intrinsic value that has nothing to do with the resale value or how they either appreciate or depreciate after you buy them. I spent $5.99 on a hamburger. Well, not these days. We're spending over $10.99 for a good hamburger. We'll spend $10 on a hamburger because it tastes good and we want to enjoy it for the moment, not because we're going to vomit it out and try to sell it. We spent $4.99 on a comic book because we probably love to read the story and the art. And if we can sell it for $1 or $2 after the fact, hey, more power to us. That's the video for today, folks. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Be well, and until next time.